Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Kel Mitchell is a staple in nearly every millennial's childhood. We all grew to know Kel from the infamous sketch series All That on Nickelodeon, where he starred alongside Kenan Thompson. And if we're being honest, they were some of the best Black, booked and busy, talented child stars of their time. All that just so happened to transform into a spinoff that we know today as Kenan and Kel. We can't forget about that orange soda. And we also can't deny that one of the biggest films of 1997 was hands down Good Burger, which left a lot of people curious about exactly what happened to Kel Mitchell following Good Burger. Was it his last big childhood film, or was it his last big film at all? Well, Kel started his acting career at the age of 15. And now at 42 and outside of acting, he's known as a stand-up comedian, a musician, a singer, a rapper, and now a youth pastor. To date, Kel Mitchell has a current net worth of $3 million, which is why I was totally shocked and surprised after having a conversation with his ex-wife about some of the things that she allegedly experienced. She outlines physical abuse, $1.2 million in back child support, and even going to jail over Kel Mitchell. She also alleges that he stole from their child's college fund. He has since responded, and we're here today with an exclusive interview with Kel Mitchell's ex-wife. The syrup is sticky. Make sure you subscribe, and let's dig in.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some Black, and she said, loves me some Black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
What up and welcome back. I'm Jane, the plainest Jane, and y'all know over here on this channel, I serve syrup in the form of Black news and celebrity updates. Now, we have a very special show in store for you today, but I just want to update a few of the things that were stated in this intro. This isn't my first time having a conversation with this marvelous young lady that Kel Mitchell just so happens to used to have been married to. Now, it was stated that he had a net worth of $3 million. Now, when I interviewed her prior on the old channel, his net worth was $3 million. Well, currently his net worth is $500,000. Of course, he was 41 at the time. Now he's 45 years old, and he's denied all of the allegations, right? And so we need to speak to, if you don't already know, Kel Mitchell actually was interviewed. It premiered yesterday on Club Shay Shay. If you want to take a look here, Kel Mitchell was on Club Shay Shay yesterday. It premiered, and he had a lot of things to say about his life in general, but about his ex-wife, and she is here to tell her side of the story. There were so many different things that he touched on, and I think that it's only fair that with Kel Mitchell telling his side of what he experienced throughout their relationship, that she is able to share her side of the story and what they went through in their relationship. So we're going to get into all that and more, right? We're getting into abortions, we're getting into physical abuse, we're getting into financial abuse, we're getting into jail time, we're getting into debt, we're getting into their kids, we're getting into a lot of stuff in this interview. Okay, so what I need for all of you all to do is to share this video with someone via text message, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, however it is that you share videos, your group chat, text message, whatever. Also, you want to pay your fare by hitting thumbs up on the video. That is required and it is free. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of the sticky celebrity syrup that we will be delivering over here on this channel. Okay. If you have any questions for Kel Mitchell's ex-wife, be sure to put it in the chat. I might see it, I might not, but if I just so happen to glance, you know, it is what it is, right? So without further ado, welcome our guests. Throw your pancakes in the chat, and we're going to bring up our guest. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream. So I know that you have been completely bombarded by a lot of people letting you know what they heard, what happened, asking you what is or is not true. I have a lot of specific questions for you as it pertains to your relationship with Kel Mitchell. And I thank you for being a part of the platform. Are you feeling okay today?
Definitely. I'm feeling awesome.
Good, 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 good. Okay, so I wanted to start off talking about you said at one point that you were arrested or thrown in jail based on his debt. Can you elaborate on that?
Um, yes. So well, I'm trying to figure out the best. I don't even know where to start this off, but actually, you know what? I'll just start it off at the reality. The reality is that um, even though Kel was on television, he was not making the money that people thought that he was making. So, on paper, he was making somewhere around $600,000, but in reality, he only brought in about $150,000. That's how the studios work. They take, you know, majority of everything that you make, the agents, and then all the everything. Basically, you pay for everything. So, and while he and I were together, I would do the taxes and get everything together, and then when he was younger, his mother would do it. So when he filed for divorce and when we were going through divorce, because he did not want to pay any child support, he lied um, on his taxes because he wanted to show that he did not make any money. So what he did was he lied and said that he made, I want to say he filed taxes, maybe saying that he made like $40,000 or something, and the reality was that the tax department were able to see that he made close to $600,000. So that left a debt of over $200,000 owing to the IRS because he lied about his taxes and he filed his taxes while he and I were not together, but we were still legally married, and that caused a lien of $220,000 to be added to my home. So when he and I were going through the divorce, we had 3 trials, and the judge determined that the house is my sole and separate property. But there was still this $200,000 lien against the property because of the tax debt.
Okay.
Yes, and so shortly after I won my lawsuits, I won the property as my sole and separate property. The guy that Kel sold the property to his name is Stephen Kenilworth, and he's a real estate investor. He's a billionaire. He's tied to the courts, and he's tied to his next door neighbor was the head of the criminal court. So my house was worth I don't know, close to $4 million, and I purchased the house, or me and Kel and I purchased the house in 1999 for $300,000. So there was a lot of equity left in the house, and when Kel decided to just sell the house from up under me, that caused so many problems, including just if you can even imagine the amount of debt that comes with selling a marital property in the middle of the divorce, 3 trials, and then he's got this $200,000 lien. Well, the guy who purchased the house got so pissed off that I won the lawsuit and won all the lawsuits in the higher courts as well, in federal court, in the Supreme Court. I won all the lawsuits. And he was so pissed off that he decided to get his next door neighbor to state that I stole my house from um, him. I'm not really sure. I sued them in federal court, and so I'm still going through a lawsuit with them right now to try to figure out exactly what theory that they were using. But basically, they lied, and Kel lied, and all these people lied in order to get the house. Like so many people wanted to get the equity and wanted to get the money that was in the house that they lied and they stated that I stole my house, even though I won it. So not only did I go through a completely crazy, nasty divorce, but then I was arrested and taken to jail for grand theft of house, completely fraudulently. And while I was in jail, because I don't know what's going on, they would not let me out of jail. They kept me in jail. They sold my house like 5 times while I was in jail. And then after they did that, my attorney was like, "Well, what do you want to do? We can't. There's nothing really we can do. They want you to accept the deal." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I have to accept the deal now because they arrested me, put me in jail, and I can't get out of jail now. When I get out of jail, I'm not going to have a house because." While I was in jail, they stole my house. That was the purpose of them putting me in jail, was to steal my house so they can get the money.
That's really interesting. He mentioned something in the interview about you being a part of real estate fraud, in
Mm-hmm.
reference
Oh,
to
that's interesting.
a criminal past that he says that you had that he didn't know about when you all got together. And I want to get into that a bit later.
Please, let's get into that. I mean, we could get into that. Wait, I don't know. We can get into it really quick now if you want, because none of that's true. There was never a criminal past. The criminal past started with him with his own domestic violence towards me, where I was arrested. So that's the very first time I've ever been arrested, was when I called the police on him. But since they knew him and they knew that he was on Nickelodeon, and it was so terrible. The pregnant woman, is telling me about how I'm abusing him,
Now,
which
was
was
that at
insane.
the home or was it at a hotel? Because he detailed a situation where the police were present at a hotel
No,
because
no, no. That was at the home. But the reason why he brought up the situation at the hotel is because I went on TikTok, and in all of my legal documents, I've shown proof that he was abusive, and that the police in Monrovia, which is the incident he's talking about, um, took a knife away from him because he threatened to kill me in the parking lot. So he is basically bringing all this stuff up, I believe, to try to, I guess, justify his domestic violence behavior, claiming it was because I was pregnant by all these other men. Uh, very odd. Very odd way to try to do that instead of just being accountable and saying that you were abusive.
uh yeah, that is pretty
Like,
look,
just say
it's a
the
lot.
truth.
There are
Say the
so it
truth.
seems like y'all had such a turbulent relationship that
No,
there's
but
so much to
what's
get
so
into.
yeah, what's so crazy is that uh there wasn't a turbulent relationship. That's the craziest part. There wasn't. There wasn't a turbulent, crazy relationship. That didn't exist. So he's like is making up that there was this turbulent relationship when there wasn't. There was not a turbulent relationship. Everything
So it was
started.
all like sunshine and rainbows for you all?
No, well, for me it was horrible because he's a narcissist and he's completely psycho. But during that time, I was just trying to be a good wife and a good mom, so I never argued with him. I never told him that the person that I am now was not the person that I was when I was married. The person that I was when I was married to him, I was a loving, caring wife that, you know, never spoke ill of him, even though he was doing all these things. So there was not any turbulence. The only turbulence came from him, his own actions, whatever drama he was doing or not coming home or whatever else he was doing. I was, I don't know if, well, you don't have children, but I know, people that have children, you're a single mom. Basically, I was a stay at home mom with 2 small kids, writing scripts and plays for him, doing whatever he wanted me to do to help save his career. And so I was with him constantly, and I gave my entire life to him and my children. So there wasn't anything turbulent about it. It was not crazy. There was not anything going on besides the fact that he was just missing in action. I would never even know where he went. He would not be at home. Would have no idea where he was.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So before we get into the Nick Cannon and your cheerleading outfit and all of that other stuff, right? Before we get into that, I just want to know your organic thoughts about Kel Mitchell is a minister now. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it just, to me, it just goes along hand in hand with religion, and it goes along with men and their viewpoints about religion and them creating religion, because God does not need the Bible. God does not need man. That's my belief. And Christianity, and because of Christianity, so many, over 50 billion people have died. I don't know what God it is that Kel believes in or worships. Is not the same God that I believe in and worships. I don't think we're talking about the same person.
Okay.
And I think that just goes along with a lot of people who just are fake, or they do the works of quote unquote Christian and Christianity. And he's just playing. He's an actor, so he's acting like he's a preacher. He's acting like he's a parent. He does not have a personality of his own. So he's always just playing a new role. So that's the role of preacher.
Okay.
Um,
So he said that when he when he first got you pregnant, he said, in this interview with Club Shay Shay, aka Shannon Sharpe, he said he couldn't tell his mom that you were pregnant because his mom was his manager. What do you say to that? And is that true?
that's absolutely not true. And there was never a first time he got me pregnant. That I had sex with him one time. I was pregnant that time. Then my child was born. So there was never another time. There was never an abortion. There was nothing. I don't even know. He's not talking about me when he's talking about some kind of abortion that happened. I don't even know who he's talking about, but it has nothing to do with me. If I had believed in abortions, I would have aborted my child that is here and alive. So, yeah, that never happened. And as far as he didn't want to tell his mom, he told his mom immediately the very first day that we met that he was going to marry me. So, I, like I said, I don't know what this man, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand why he tries to recreate the narrative. I thought it had something to do with his new wife. Sometimes a lot of women can't handle the fact that, you, you, they want to make their first wife look like, terrible or something to try to make the second wife feel more comfortable. I really don't know. I don't know. I have no clue, because that's not what happened at all. He was so excited to tell his mom. We were both excited. There was never a time where Kel thought that he wanted to commit suicide because he was having a child. That never was brought up. We both were excited about having kids young. What's really interesting about it is that he'd wanted to pick wisdom and honor for our children's names. And I just was like, absolutely not. But then he names his children with his new wife, Wisdom and Honor, which I just thought was just, it's just sick. This kind of people that do this are just very weird.
Okay, well, let me just give you the story, because I know we spoke a little bit before we got on camera, and you didn't watch the full interview. What he said was, obviously that he had gotten you pregnant and that he didn't feel comfortable telling his mother because his mother was his manager. And he said that you said that you wanted to get an abortion. And then, of course, the suicidal thoughts came up, and then he stated that you got the abortion, but then he stated that he got you pregnant again. Um, and then what this was towards the end of his Nickelodeon phase, according to him. Um, and he said that he found out that the baby that was aborted, that you aborted, was not his. What are your thoughts? What are your comments on that?
Right. So I think that's the part of the video that I did see, and I think what he said was that I told him that the child that I aborted wasn't his child, and that's strange. Uh, I just think he's such a liar. I don't even know why he wants to make up this entire thing about the abortion. The only reason that I can think of is that he actually got someone else pregnant, and it just wasn't me. That's the only thing I can think about. And but since he's been lying about this so long, he has to continue the lie, I'm guessing.
But he really specifically said it was you.
Right. I know what he said, but he's a liar. So I don't understand why he would continue to make up a lie about me having an abortion that never happened. The very first time I had sex was with him. The only person I had sex with was with him. And he knew this very well. And not only did he know it very well, but before he and I even had sex, because he did not believe me, he thought that I was lying to him about being a virgin. So we actually went to the doctor, and the doctor proved that my hymen was intact. So for somebody to go, and
Oh no.
a loose woman or a woman that was a whore is beyond me. It's just, I have no idea. I guess he's trying to make it seem like I'm just a terrible person, so then people won't like me. I don't know what else to say about it. But no, Kel was the first person I had sex with. I got pregnant, and we had her son. There was never an abortion.
How
I've
many
never had an abortion.
how many children do you have by Kel?
Two children.
Okay, yeah,
No
that's what
abortions.
the interview. So I just wanted to make sure because the interview definitely like made it seem like y'all had at least two. So one thing that Kel said in the interview was that, listen, there are no hard feelings that I have towards her, and I'm praying for her right now. How do you feel about that?
That he's just a liar. That he's a liar and that he's a hypocrite. And he obviously has hard feelings. He's obviously, I honestly don't even know why he even talks about me. He really should not have any hard feelings towards me, since he was the one that wanted all of this. He wanted the divorce. He was cheating. As far as he's praying for me, I do not want him praying for me at all. I don't know who he's praying to. So I don't want him praying for me at all. And I really hate that he uses God at all when he knows that does everything completely opposite of God. People take care of their children. They everything he does, he's just a complete hypocrite. And it's just, to me, it's sickening watching him and his lies.
Okay. So now I want to get into this hotel story. He told this semi elaborate story on Shannon Sharpe's platform about when he allegedly caught you committing adultery. And I want to know how you feel about it, but first let me just set the stage and just let people know what he said, if people didn't sit down and watch the whole 2 hours and 12-minute interview.
Okay.
He said that there was a guy friend that you had that frequently visited the home. He had a weird feeling about that friend. And at some point y'all had stopped having intimate relations. And he began, to wonder. And he said he went out to try to like look for you or see where you were, to see if you were, cheating, or who or if you were involved with someone else. And he showed up to the hotel, and um he saw the guy in the hallway, and he told the guy to take him to the room. The guy took him to the room, and you were kind of basically like a deer in headlights. And he walked out, but he came back, and somehow the police ended up arriving because he felt disrespected in one way, and I'm paraphrasing. He felt disrespected in one way or another, because y'all had been in a relationship, and this guy friend had been over the home, or whatever the case was. And the police came, and the police told him, like, listen, you need to get out of this situation. What are your thoughts on that situation? Did it happen? Did it not happen at all? Or did he completely like change or lie about certain details?
Sure, yeah. Well, like I said, a lot of times what narcissists do, and Kel's typical narcissist is it once somebody brings proof of something. So the entire time Kel was saying that, you know, he was not abusive, he didn't do any domestic violence, he never touched me. And so once I brought out the receipts of the police department, it's interesting that this is now the story. He has, once again, this is why I think that, you know, he has created this cheating allegations. I guess maybe it's the only thing that other people will say, yeah, that's right, you know, she was cheating on you and that's why you abused her. I'm guessing that's, you know, more people are like, oh, this is why you did all this stuff to her, because she was unfaithful, she was an unfaithful hoe. And somehow that makes it okay for you to, you know, not see your kids for 13 years and do all these things because she was an unfaithful hoe. And I guess that's where he wanted to go with it, because he was found out to be a liar. You know, as soon as I brought up the reports from the police department, which is what I brought up on my TikTok and in my court documents, I brought the police report from the Monrovia Police Department, which lists that he threatened to kill me with a knife and the knife was confiscated. But this entire time, Kel was saying that there was no domestic violence and I was the one that was abusive towards him. So that's not at all what happened. Kel was upset because I was not having sex with him anymore after I caught him cheating with a man, because men don't have condoms when they have sex. And, you know, obviously, if you're cheating with a man and you're cheating, I mean, he had a cheating problem in general, but sense to me. And I have an illness that I can get extremely sick, so I take my personal body very, you know, it's very important to me. And so I could not trust him any longer. So that's why we were not having sex. It was not because of any other reason. So like he stopped having sex with me. No, he wanted to have sex with me, but I refused to have sex with him once I found him sleeping with a man. So that's why the sex ended. And when the sex ended, he decided that I was cheating, which still was not true. But the cheating allegations were throughout the marriage. And I think mainly the cheating allegations were there because he was cheating. That's, you know, usually that's why people bring up cheating, because there wasn't even a time for me to cheat, to do anything, because I had two little small kids and I'm running around. I ran 6 miles a day. I went to college. I was just like, I only slept probably like 3 to 4 hours some days doing all of these things for Kel. So just to have the nerve to say anything about me cheating or that was even a thing is ridiculous. No, I was never cheating on him. I never cheated on him. He did come to the hotel where I was, where he knew I was, because I was writing raps with a male, which he knew. All of this stuff that he knew. He knew exactly where I was. He knew where I was located. The person that I was writing raps with, he knew. He and I and the person that I was writing raps with were on songs together. So, and he knew this person that he's talking about, which is, like I'm saying, it's very crazy. So, he knew exactly where I was. He knew that I was writing raps with a guy, and he just goes to the hotel and he wants to cause a scene to make it seem like, you know, I'm cheating on him, which was was not true. He knew the guy. Like he said, the guy came to our house. He knew him. There was not cheating. No cheating. Writing raps.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's crazy.
So another thing that Kel said was that there was a point where one of the men that you were dealing with at the time called him and asked if Kel could take his kids because things were about to get ugly and CPS was called Child Protective Services. And so he ended up, although he was in another relationship, actually another marriage with someone else, he took his two biological kids and two kids that weren't his into his custody. Is that true?
No, that is not true. What did he say? I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm hearing about this part. So, sorry, repeat this again.
Okay.
He said what? Okay.
It says, so Kel, and these are notes that I took personally myself.
Okay.
He says that your guy, that's what he said. He said, your guy called me, her guy called me, is what he said. Her guy called me and asked if I could take his children because things were about to get ugly. CPS, Child Protective Services, were involved. And Shannon Sharpe actually said, okay, so you took your two biological kids and two kids that weren't your biological kids. And Kel said, yes. Um, and so I was asking you if that was true or not.
Yeah, no, that never happened. Kel didn't have his children at any point in time. His children have, I think they spent the night at his house one time when they were very old, and that was after me forcing it. But yeah, Kel never took any children. There was a DCFS case that had to do with my uh, second crazy psycho man that was abusive, and they decided that they were going to try to work together to uh, I guess make me look bad. But the reason why the domestic violence case was open was because the crazy second ex um, broke my nose and my ribs, and
Mm.
Kel Mitchell was called because the second crazy ex told DCFS that he's not the father of my older two children. So Kel didn't even know any of this was happening because he had not been around, because he was in his relationship with Asia and they were doing their thing. So Kel had not seen his kids, had not talked to his kids. Kel was supposed to pick his kids up from school every single day. I'm sorry, every Friday at this time, and drop them off back to school on Monday. That never happened. So he had custody, he had everything, but he just decided not to do any of it. And now I'm guessing he wants to seem like he is once again the savior. And he took in my children. That's insane. You know what's even what the funniest and craziest part about all this is that when domestic violence happened with my second ex, um, Kel did not even have his own children. His children were with my parents. And why were my children with my parents? Because Kel did not have a relationship with them and had not seen them in over 8 years. So why he would think that anybody would give him anything, or any children or anything, is beyond me. And why he would even claim that this even happened when his own children are alive and well and they could tell their side of the story if this ever happened, which it didn't. So it's crazy how he lies about stuff that is verifiable information. That's
It's
insane to me.
it's interesting. I know that you all went through a rough divorce, and when it comes to Kel was asked, about you going to jail or serving time for whatever reason. Shannon Sharpe asked, why would she go through so much effort to ruin your life? And I took that question as to be, why would she lie? Why would she? And um, Kel's response was, I think that there are deep things that she's gone through in her life that I want her to get help for, but she hasn't got help for. What are your thoughts about that?
Honestly, it's like, it seems to me like what a lot of narcissists do is that they talk about themselves and they try to project onto another person. So Kel has demons that he has to work through because he was molested and he was raped by people in the industry while he was a child actor, and he needs to work on that. I had an amazing childhood. I came from great parents. I've never had to, suck dick or have sex with anybody for money ever in life. Um, and all this weirdo Hollywood stuff, I didn't know anything about it. I was an actor, but my aunt was my manager. So I wasn't into Hollywood like that because I'm from Los Angeles. And so this is not like exciting thing. So many kids are actors and actresses in Los Angeles. We just grow up doing this. So that Hollywood lifestyle never intrigued me. It was never anything that I was interested in. And my parents had money, and I did not need Kel didn't even have money. I mean, Kel, introduced me to poverty. I didn't actually have any poverty. I didn't even know what poverty was like until I dealt with this man. So he's ridiculous. It's just in so many different ways. I'm just like shocked by the stuff that you said in the interview. I didn't even think it got into. This is just crazy.
It is. What I want to do is everybody in the chat. We've got over 330 people here. Please feel free to hit the thumbs up button. You all definitely need to. If you have any specific questions to ask, honestly, there's so many comments coming in. You can send a super chat. It could just be a 99-cent super chat. That is okay. But if you have a question that you want to ask, you can send a super chat in so that we can ask your question, because Lord knows I can't read every single comment that's coming through. It's just too much going on. So send you a 99 or more super chat. We will be able to read your questions. I do have quite a few more questions, and we have a lot more to get into within this interview. What we're going to do right now is we're going to get into an 120-second, just a slight little break. Okay. It's just a little more than 60-second thing. And we'll be back and we'll ask more questions. Stickies, drop your pancakes down below. Put your questions down below. What do you think of this? And we'll be right back. Let's get it. Get into this Black-owned business, Stickies. It's got things for inside your home, outside your home, and even on the go. JasmineMadeIt.com is your new destination for Black Girl Magic mugs, tumblers, and even wine glasses. You can even customize the tumblers and wine glasses. There's a lot going on for a low price over at JasmineMadeIt.com. And if you've been serious about wanting to support more Black-owned businesses, here's your chance. Let JasmineMadeIt.com handle all your problems for family and friends. You ever had a friend over and they just wasn't catching the hint or paying the rent?
Y'all asses all get to stepping.
Yeah, tell them to get to stepping with this nostalgic Martin-themed doormat, and shop over a dozen different doormat designs over on JasmineMadeIt.com. All right, Stickies, you know what time it is. It's time to put your money where your mouth is and shop Black today. Make life easier for you and your household by taking your family's hot or cold beverages on the go with one of these unique tumblers. It's insulated to keep your beverage at temperature, and it comes with a few different reusable straws and even the specific brush that you need to wash it so you can keep it sanitized and germ-free. They've got all kinds of designs to match your mood or style. So grab something for your wife, the hubby, or even the kids over on JasmineMadeIt.com. That's JasmineMadeIt.com, and I'll see you over there. All right, so we are back. Let's go ahead and get into this. Another one of the things, should I say, that Kel got into is he said you change the kids' names and alienated him from being able to have a relationship with the kids. What do you have to say about that?
It's a bunch of bullshit, and I have shown the court documents several times to prove, because you know what, there are dads out there that don't have any custody, that don't have any visitation with their kids, and Kel's not one of them. He had weekly visitations with his children for over a year and a half where he did not exercise any visitations with his children. And that went on for maybe about 3 years, where he just went MIA. But he really didn't go MIA because, we have social media. So all the kids could see exactly what he was doing. And that did not happen. The kids were tired. I changed the kids' names for their school records because kids were using Google. Kids were Googling the kids' names, and they were like, oh my gosh, your dad is so famous, but we never see him. And if you could imagine what that would feel like as a child, to have people Google your parents and to know that your dad is on Nickelodeon. He's this funny guy that all the kids look up to, and he's non-existent. So the kids were making fun of my children, and they were constantly asking them about their dad that's supposedly famous. And, they're walking around with his whole face. So I changed their names in school under a different last name so that they could have their anonymity until he was, in their life. And that's what I did. So
Now,
I don't even know why he
did
would even
that
think
have
that.
anything to do with the men you were dating at that time? Because that's kind of the implication that I got from the interview, was that it might have, like, it was another man's last name or something
Oh,
like.
yes, yes. So the person, that I was dating at the time, not dating, but he and I have children together. So that person, um, everyone had the same last name. And, I guess he was, upset about that. He was angry about that. I don't know why he was so angry about that. You didn't even see your kids for 7 years. Why? I don't even know why that would matter to him about. But, it's these kinds of things that it's just ick. It just gives me an ick thing because he is so concerned about the kids' names being changed, but he's not concerned with anything else. You weren't concerned with what they were doing, how they were doing, that they were in a horrible, another domestic violence situation that I actually reached out to him about myself, because he's supposed to be their father, and he's supposed to be there, even though we were, going through a divorce. But I was never the crazy person that made any of this stuff happen in the divorce. That's the other part about this, because, people get married, people get divorced. It's not a big deal. It happens all the time. I really could not understand why he could not have a relationship with his children or with myself, because it was completely illogical to me. He was my best friend. We were best friends. I thought we told each other everything. And I never would have expected that he would do this, because we actually talked about this even while I was pregnant. He's, I would never do that. I will never I would make sure, even if whatever we're going through, and we didn't even go through anything. That's the other part of this. That's so crazy to me. And it's like, oh, the divorce was so terrible. No, actually the divorce would not have been a problem. We had one house. The only problem that created this entire thing is him. If he hadn't have taken the kids to Chicago, if he hadn't have sold the house, if he didn't take all the money out of the bank accounts, if he didn't stop take all the kids, their entire college savings, and if he did not take my daughter's wedding fund. So there's a slew of things that Kel decided to do on his own that caused all of this. So our divorce shouldn't even have been longer than 6 months. And this man is still going into court now. He still has attorneys now, trying not to pay me the money that he owes me after the 3 trials and after all of these things that he did. Divorces don't have to be crazy. Our relationship was not crazy. There was nothing crazy about our relationship besides the fact when he was abusive and when he was drinking or when he was using drugs. And that's the only time our relationship was crazy. Other than that, our relationship was not crazy. I didn't even care about him cheating. So, I was completely unproblematic, which is,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So that was this really specific time that he explained while he sat with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay. And he said basically that it seemed as though at the time that you had sickle cell. And I'm not asking you if you have that or not, because I'm not asking about like your health status. But what he said was he went to the appointment with you, and he said that the doctor said in front of the both of you that you lost the baby, but y'all weren't having sex at that time. So he said that told him that you were cheating on him. What do you say to that? Is he lying or is he telling the truth?
Absolutely, he's definitely lying. I have sickle beta thalassemia disease. He knew this. He knew this before he and I got married. I was in the hospital all the time, and he just wants to make me look like this whore. And I guess a lot of people, or a lot of men, I'm thinking a lot of men that do this, they want to gang up, and he wants to make me look like this bad woman, and that's the reason why he did all these things. So he's lying about everything. Him and I came to the doctor's appointment. I didn't even go to the doctor. So I would get sick. There would be no need for me to go to the doctor. Why? Because my entire life I've been dealing with sickle beta thalassemia disease, and I don't go see a doctor. So that would never happen. I go directly into the hospital, and I go through what I normally do, which are blood transfusions and all sorts of stuff that I've been doing since I've been 8 years old. And it was a routine. And so there was never a hospital visitation. There was never a hospital a visit. There wouldn't have been any way that I would have been surprised pregnant, because I had so many pregnancy complications with both of my children that getting pregnant and being pregnant, it almost killed me. So that was something that I was not planning on doing ever. So none of that is true. And any time, it's because I was at the hospital and at the doctor's office so often, I would have known that I was pregnant because I constantly had blood work done. So, I think Kel also, I don't know if he said this in this video, but I know he used to say before that I was on drugs. And it's like, okay, well, a person that goes to the hospital and has multiple blood transfusions on a monthly basis, those drugs would show up and someone would have said something, right? Somebody would have said, oh, this girl's on all these drugs.
Hmm. That's true.
And yeah, like, dude, stop. He just needs to stop with this.
So
He's trying to say that I'm a whore and that I was pregnant by somebody else because we were not having sex. When the reality is, he knew exactly why we weren't having sex, because he was sleeping with men and women, and he was a liar. And so you don't get to cheat and sleep with other people, and then you're gonna come home and sleep with me? Absolutely not. Are we
when
gonna
you
stay
say
married?
when you
Absolutely.
say he was sleeping with men, what what can you say that really proves that to be true?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't even think it matters, right? Whether or not, if anyone believes it, or that's the reality. The reality is, I caught him. He was the bottom, and he was getting pounded out by a man. So whether or not he admits to it, you know, is completely irrelevant to me, because I saw it with my own eyes, and he knows this. And there wouldn't be, I don't know what proof that there would be that I could prove that, because I mean, I didn't stand there and take a picture, that's for certain. I went home. It's like, okay, I've been thinking this the entire time. I've asked him several times whether or not he was bisexual. He denied being bisexual multiple times, but when I saw him in the act, there's no denying that, and it was all the proof that I needed. And that was it. For me, as far as anything sexual. And it was honestly done before that, because he was just cheating with everybody. Anybody with a hole. That's what he was doing. So, and because of my health issues, and because there's a lot of sexually transmitted diseases, it's dangerous. So that's not worth my life, dying over somebody who can't keep their dick in their pants. Like, that's no.
Mm. Okay, so he stated that you got an abortion. Did you ever get an
I've
abortion
never had an abortion.
while with Kel?
I've never had an abortion in my entire life. Not one, not ever. I don't believe in abortions.
Okay.
But, that's just my own belief. That's why I have the children that I have. But yeah, if I had believed in abortions, I wouldn't have any children.
And you have 4 children. Is it 4?
It is. I have 4 children. Yes. So I have 2 with Kel and I have 2 with someone else. And those 2 children came after Kel divorced me and did all this stuff at the house. So, that's strange. Just like how he has, people move on. So maybe he's been upset this whole entire time that, after he did all of that and filed for divorce and took the kids, took the money out the bank account. I don't know why he thought that there would be any coming back from that, along with the domestic violence. I don't know why he thought that, he could come back from that at all. If that's what he really thought or not, I really don't know. But yes, I moved on. So it was hilarious to me because, he would say things like, oh, she's bitter. She wants to be back with him. I want to be back with him. Like, dude, I'm completely moved on with a whole nother relationship, just in the same way that he has. And yeah, that was very odd behavior. But yeah, no. Never happened. Never had an abortion.
So Kel stated something in regards to the father of your children that are not by him about him doing jail time. Is that true?
Oh, he's definitely doing jail time because he was abused. Like I said, he broke my nose and my ribs. He did very there were a lot of domestic violence with him, just as there were domestic violence with Kel. And he is doing jail time right now because of his domestic violence and his stalking and his domestic violence. So that is very true. Kel should be doing jail time, and hopefully he will be doing jail time because this is, all the stuff that this man did is ridiculous. And thank God they have changed the laws in California so you could actually go back further to make sure that the person becomes responsible for every part of the domestic violence, which this is still part of the domestic violence. The fact that he's continuously making up lies and talking about me with people that don't even ask about him. They're not even talking to him about me. But this is part of the entire defamation. This is part of domestic violence. This is part of the coercive control. And, and why it's so damaging. Because all these years later, instead of talking about and instead of taking the accountability and saying, hey, you know what? I did these things that she's saying. And there's proof of it. I have multiple lawsuits. There's proof. We had multiple trials. The judge has decided that he committed fraud with malicious intent. By doing all of these things that I've discussed in detail. And it doesn't matter as many times as Kel wants to say it. None of it's true. So there was never children on him, had babies on him. I know I've seen that comments before, like, oh, you had babies on him? Dude, he needs to stop. There was never babies on him. I was faithful to him while we were married. And once he sold the house, once he took the kids, once he told my entire family I was on drugs and I was a whore, once he filed for divorce and then left the kids in Chicago and moved in with his mistress in California, I figure that's the ending of the relationship, right? I mean, there's nothing else to hold on to at that point. So, and he was with Asia. Like, it's just so weird. The whole thing is so weird.
Okay, so he says something to the effect of that after but the kid's name change, it made him feel some type of way, it alienated him, you assisted the alienation of him from his children, and he said he tried to see the kids at some point, he tried to visit the kids at some point, but you called the police. Is that something that's true or no?
So Kel, like I said, never lost visitation. He actually never lost visitation, and he actually never lost custody. So he still had some custody and he still had some visitation. And instead of exercising his custody and his visitation, he created and was married to Asia. So that's where he spent his time, and that's where he put he put work into that relationship, and he completely disassociated himself from his children. Now, as we talked about before with Kel, when my crazy second ex who's in jail, right, for domestic violence, when that guy and him and Kel were talking together, and that was a plan that they both were going to say. They both, I guess came to the realization that I was this terrible woman. And so Kel tried to use that in the Department of Children and Family Services court, as a tag team to, just to try to get custody. Even though, like I stated before, he never lost custody, he never lost visitation, he just refused to exercise it. Me changing the kids' names, he wouldn't even have known about. Like I said, he hadn't even talked to his kids in 8 years. He had not. I don't even know why that even mattered to him. Anyway, he didn't even know where his kids were. He had no idea what they were doing. He was not involved in their lives because he just didn't care about his kids. And, I know that's hard to believe. There was a comment, and I do want to address this when it talks about the accountability, and it says, I'm not being accountable. And I just want to make it extremely clear. I don't know what I'm supposed to be accountable to other than my children and my husband while we were married. So that's what I was accountable to. When Kel did all these things that he did, who was there picking up the pieces? Myself. When nobody was, in the, industry and everybody said Kel was dead, who was there crying with Kel? Kel's crying in tears every night about, nobody likes him, all this stuff that he did, all these things that he did, and just this whole entire thing. I was there. So I am accountable for everything because I'm the only person that actually ever held any accountability for things that I didn't even cause. So, and I want to say this for other parents and other moms who go through this, and why it's so important to keep an accurate record, to call the police, to make sure you have documents of this, because years later, these men will come back and try to recreate the story. So I'm actually really glad that I had an intensive trial and that I had pretty good lawyer who was able to memorialize all of these different things, because this man has literally caused so much destruction. And then to turn around and say that it was me is beyond me. It's just beyond me. I don't even, like I said, I don't know what God he serves. I don't think we don't serve the same God at all. So yeah, I take complete accountability, but I never cheated. I'm not going to sit here and say that I cheated when I didn't cheat. I'm not going to sit here and say that I kept the kids away from him when I never kept the kids away from him. And it's in paper. It's in paperwork. You can see it. The courts have it. I have multiple child visitation, custody documents. I never wanted to have sole legal, sole physical custody. But when Kel filed for divorce, he filed for sole legal, sole physical custody. So it's so crazy that the person that is saying that I'm keeping him away is the same person that actually that's what he did. He filed for sole legal, sole physical custody, took the kids to Chicago, and then doesn't see the kids for 7 years. But then all of a sudden, I'm now the person that's keeping the kids away. That's just such a full of shit. And he really needs to stop because it's all in the documents. And as far as the documents that he provided were documents from his attorney. But I actually have actual court records from a judge after 3 trials. So, it's ridiculous for him to say that he tried, because he didn't need to try. All he needed to do was pick up the kids from school. All he needed to do was contact the kids. The kids have had their own cell phones since they've been 10 years old. He has never, not once, picked up the phone and called them. So he's full of shit. And he just needs to stop because, his kids are old enough, and there's way too much proof in that proves completely otherwise.
Okay, so what about he claimed that, well, actually you claimed that he was stealing from the kids. Was it the college fund or the trust fund? How did that happen, and how much is it that you allege he stole from the kids' future academic situation?
Right. Well, my son had at least about $300,000 because my son was acting, and he did multiple TV shows and multiple He did a lot of television shows and a lot of commercials. And he was the Gerber baby. He was the Carnation baby. And so he had about $300,000 in that account. And then my daughter had a marriage fund, which had about 50,000. Well, initially it started with 50,000, but I'm sure it was close to somewhere around about 150,000 by the time that he would have taken the money out. And then she also had a college fund, which I think probably started off with around 10,000. It was probably close to 50 or 60 in there by the time he took the money out. Honestly, I don't even know when he took the money out. By the time I figured that out, that he took the money out, my son was getting ready to go to college. So he didn't even tell me that he did this. So, yeah.
Okay. So how much did Kel steal?
All of it. He took it all. His mother and him emptied out their college savings accounts that were started when they were 1 month old. And he emptied out both of their accounts, including my daughter's wedding fund. And he used my daughter's wedding fund for his wedding.
He used his daughter's wedding fund for his wedding?
For his own wedding. And he also used, because I actually got some of the bank statements. So he actually used he put the money into his account. He paid for his wedding with my daughter's wedding fund. I think he paid for some attorney's fees or some things with the children's college accounts. And he paid for in vitro fertilization with some of their money to have the 2 children that he has, because she had a difficult time getting pregnant. So, this is what we have here.
That is a mess. So I saw a headline along the lines of how he owes $1.2 million in back child support. Is that true? Is that number accurate? Is it more or less?
Oh, it's way more now. Now it's close to about $3 million, because it wasn't just, so that was the amount that was owed for back child support, but he also owed me because he sold the house and he committed fraud with malicious intent. And because of the additional money, like the $200,000 I was telling you about, that was the tax money that was taken from the sale of the house. What else? Oh my gosh, he stopped all of the kids' medical payments, even though the courts told him that he, wasn't supposed to do that. He was supposed to make sure that the children had medical insurance. And actually, I paid for the kids' medical insurance. I actually paid for his policy. And he stopped their medical insurance. And the kids had outstanding medical bills of, I don't even know, $200,000 that I was stuck with paying because of his own stuff. Like, none of this should have happened. Like, honestly, none of this should have happened. There wasn't any craziness. There wasn't anything crazy. There was not a lot of times people go through divorces and they're, very contested and everybody's angry. I wasn't even angry. There was nothing to contest. We just had one house. So it's been going on for this long. It just shows that he's just insane. Like, there's no need for this. It's really insane to me that we're still even here talking about this. It's crazy.
Yeah, he made it a point to talk about it during the Club Shay Shay interview. It was something let me tell you, this is how I felt. As soon as I seen that he was going to be on there, I felt like I knew he was going to talk about you. And I said, yo, I know he's going to bring her up. And I just I felt like he don't know what he's getting into. This lady, she's definitely gonna respond.
Yeah, definitely gonna respond.
Like, she's definitely gonna say something because she's always speaking. And I feel like you have the right to tell your side of the story, because there's always three sides to every story. There's not just two sides. You got this person's side, the other person's side, and then the truth and where it lays. And if he has the right to tell his story and to speak on you and the experiences that he feels as though, or he has, you have the right to speak yours as well. So that is the reason why I wanted to reach out to you and have you on the platform again. I know you were on the platform a while ago. I really wish that the initial interview that we did was still available, but it's not. YouTube deleted my channel when I got to 102,000 subscribers, but it's okay. It's okay. Here we are. But I said, when I saw him speaking out, and he spoke out, and there were some things he was saying about you, I'm like, let me reach out to her so she can tell her side of the story. And I know a lot of people are going to see this, and I know you'll share this, and a lot of other people are going to share this. Here's what I'll ask in closing, because I know that there are some, I asked all the questions that I had based on the public statements that are made. You have other experiences that aren't public. So, what I'll ask you in closing is, what else do you want to say? What else would you like to say or address as it pertains to what he has said, or just to clear the air? What would you like to say to the people?
One of the problems, and one thing that I've realized, is that one of the problems with being like what's the word, a pick me. I think I was a pick me. I really do. I think I was a person that really wanted to be a mom and really wanted to be a wife, and took that job extremely seriously with a clown. I took that job seriously with a clown. And when at the end of the day, regardless of everything that has gone on, that all these things that Kel has started and Kel has done, and still now he does not care about his children, which is what this is really about. Like, everything that I've shared on my Instagram or on my TikTok has to do with narcissistic men and deadbeats, and the stories that they tell, their smear campaigns, and the stuff that they do, and how they cause judicial abuse, and how that abuse continues on, and how you can not even be in a relationship with somebody, and how they can continue to try to what's the word, control the character or the viewpoint of another person. So I know that Kel wants people to think that I was some gold digging hoe that, married for him because of his money. And that's not true. The truth is, he was broke from Chicago. The studio executives were taking his money and raping him. And he had a messed up life. And I came in because I had a wonderful parents, wonderful life. And I thought that I was very naive to think that love, and, by showing somebody love, showing somebody compassion, showing somebody, people don't care about what you show them. It did not, like, what's so crazy to me is, throughout that interview, he did not talk about one time about how nobody else was there for him but myself and my family and his children. And it wasn't like I was just there as like a doting, supportive wife. No, I was writing scripts for him. I was pitching TV shows that were picked up by the networks for him. I was pitching movies, filming them, writing them, getting network deals, while he was cheating and do whatever in the hell else he was doing. While I was doing that, I was also at home cooking and cleaning, making my meals from scratch. My kids didn't even have baby food. I made my own baby food.
Oh, okay. So, I do want to say this, and while you may feel like it's not true that he said it, but he did express how he felt alone no one understood. He felt suicidal, although he was in a relationship. Because you can be in a relationship and feel alone too.
Yeah, but
He
there was no reason for him to feel alone. There
there
was
might
no
there
reason
might
for him to feel
right.
alone in a
There might not
relationship.
have been a
That was
reason.
ridiculous.
There might not have been a reason, whatever the case is, but he did express feeling completely isolated from everybody, from Keenan, from Nick Cannon, from his relationship, from the executives. He definitely did express feeling isolated and how that hurt his feelings. So
Right, right, right. But
I just
everything,
want to make that known.
sure, yeah, but that you see what I mean? Like that's the problem. The problem is that he was always concerned about himself, his feelings, and what he's going through, and he made it seem like other people weren't there, like he had no support. And that's really what I want to talk about, because so many men get on here and they talk about the kind of woman that they want, a good woman that does this and does that and does this and does that. And then when they have the good woman that does this and does this and does that, they don't even, there's nothing. So many women go through this with their husbands and they sit there and they lie. He was feeling alone. You were feeling alone. That's just a lie. He was not feeling alone. His friends, Keenan, Nick, and I really just want to call them all out. All of you guys left him. And I was there to pick up the pieces. And, Nick, I used to open my house to Nick on a regular basis. Nick would come and sleep in our house multiple times. Keenan, I thought these people were his actual real friends, but these people were just as fake as everything else is in the industry. They all lied. They all left him when he had nothing, and he actually had people. So, it's so interesting to me, because even when he didn't have anything, a long time ago, I told him that he should look into becoming a pastor, looking into, talking to the youth. And now I just feel like it's just, he's just so fake about everything. And he's just like his friends that all, left him in the complete dark while he was doing his own thing, and did not show any support for anything that he did, would not be in the movies, would not do anything. So, he is trying to gain sympathy, but you don't get sympathy. You don't get sympathy from just deciding that and lying. You don't get sympathy for lying. And as far as him being suicidal, dude, he needs to stop with that. He just really needs to stop with that. But the whole purpose of it is to get sympathy, and I'm just done with it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of weaponizing competence. I'm tired of men who want to act like this, especially when they have a woman who did not do that. I never belittled him. I never talked about him. I never said anything to him while we were married. I supported him wholeheartedly. I loved him unconditionally, even when he was unfaithful. Right. So, to have gone through that with a person, to have children with this person to the fact that he doesn't even care about his own children is just beyond me. And I'm just sad that I even thought that he was a real person. And I really hope that he gets whatever help that he needs to get. I really do. I hope that, he's able to work whatever's going on out with his new wife and their children. I hope he's able to stay through that, and be supportive, and hopefully just does not get divorced, and, stays there for those kids, because he has a second time around to, do it right, like how he's supposed to. So I really hope that he does that. And I just hope he really gets help, because talking about me and trying to deflect from the fact that you were a very terrible, horrible person, instead of being accountable for your actions, is beyond me. So yeah, no, I don't believe any of it. So, and I'm not going to, because I know exactly who he is.
So you don't believe that he had suicidal moments?
Absolutely not. No, not during those times. No, not while we were together. Absolutely not. No.
So to the people who feel like that's an insensitive gesture, what would be your reasoning as to thinking that he's incapable of feeling like ending his life?
Because if that's true, and you felt like everything was so terrible where you felt like you wanted to end your life, and if that were true, well, why didn't anybody know about this? Why were you doing multiple interviews when you and I were together? We did multiple shows. We did press junkets together. We filmed 3 movies together. I'm writing for all these shows. We're going into meetings every day. We're around. This man came with me to college every single day. So, like, when did this happen? When was this? Because it never existed. So I really know, I know who he is. And the only reason why he's saying this is because he doesn't want his new wife to believe that we had a great, wonderful relationship. He really wants his new wife to believe that our relationship was so terrible, so that I guess he can, make their relationship be the best thing since sliced bread. But that's not what happened at all. So,
I don't know. I kind of feel like suicide doesn't have a specific look. So when you say, how come nobody knew? People don't always know when someone around them is dealing with something as heavy as that. So it's not like you can paint everybody with the same brush as saying, well, somebody around them would have known. Suicidal ideations look totally different on each and every person.
Well, that I guess the part about it that bothers me about it is the fact that, why do you want to commit suicide when you're causing this? You're having suicidal ideations about things that you caused. That just doesn't make sense to me. He's acting like everything happened to him instead of him doing all these things. If he hadn't been cheating, we wouldn't be divorced. Like, if he hadn't have sold the house, taken the kids to Chicago, all these things, like, so much stuff would not have happened. If he had have been in his children's lives, which he was definitely capable of doing, then he would have seen his kids, because no one was trying to keep him from his kids. We had 50-50 custody and visitation. So he's acting as if, like, the show just ended. The show didn't just end. You quit the show. That's what I mean. I'm like, he was having arguments with the producers because he wanted the show to be called Kel and Keenan. And they're like, what? That's not an argument. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's fake. When your show gets canceled, and that's a different thing. And you don't have any money, and that's a different thing. And, you believe your wife's cheating on you and it's actually a real thing. That would be something to really, believe in. But not when you're cheating, not when you're ending the show yourself, not when you're burning the bridges with your executives because of your own behavior and your own attitude. And then now you want to kill yourself? No, that's a cop out. And I'm so sick and tired of so many people trying to claim mental illness. That's not a mental illness. That is a manipulator. That is a person who sees an advantage and uses it. He was too old for Nickelodeon. He's a pastor. He's a youth pastor. Any chance he can get to, make a name for himself or do whatever, get to the next point, he's going to do it, because this is what people do that claim they want to be in the limelight, that this is what they want, instead of just being honest. And instead of, just telling the truth. I don't understand why he's so allergic to the truth and just being honest. Because I mean, I feel there's been times I don't know a person who hasn't thought about suicide. I don't know a person who hasn't thought about that. Honestly, if I want to be very realistic, I don't really know people that haven't thought about suicide at one point in their life. But I think that, to think about suicide because of something that you caused is a cop out. And if if you're being depressed by something that you're causing, then why don't you just stop causing things? You don't get to, completely destroy everything and then be like, I wanted to kill myself. And then everybody's supposed to feel sorry for you now? No, he caused all of these things to happen. He destroyed his own marriage because he did not have faith and value in it. he destroyed his own career network because he decided that he wanted to talk about, you know, inappropriate comedy that had to do with child sexual abuse. Nobody's gonna who that's not even funny. So I don't believe that,
No, absolutely
I,
not. There's
I
nothing funny about it. There's
right. So
nothing
I'm
there's
like,
there's nothing funny about there's nothing funny about this matter. This is the reason why I'm asking you the questions that I'm asking you, and thank you, Mims, for the 199 super chat. It says suicide has no face. Oftentimes others won't know. Yeah, it absolutely is. People don't understand how the man behind Kodak, that like the photo taking Kodak, not the rapper, how he passed. He went to a party, he had a good time, he went back to his house and he took himself out. So it doesn't always look the way people thinks that it'll look. And mm,
yeah, I mean, and it can look however, I agree with all that, but the thing is that, sorry, you don't get to cause damage and then say you want to commit suicide because of what you cause. If you really wanted to change the things that happen in your life, or you really, I feel like suicide is like the last thing that you do. But I know that Kel reaches for that because he does not have any empathy, and so he tries to pull on people's heartstrings, and he, by saying that he was suicidal, it it invokes emotion. And I just think that's messed up, and I think I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of him doing this,
so you don't
because
think
there
it's
are people.
possible you don't think it's possible for Kel to be in such a stressful place that he feels like he just wants to clock out? Like you don't
where
think
where where was the stress? What was so stressful? I'm because I'm really trying to understand this, because Kel
well
does this and he
he
says this
was
all
a
the time.
child actor, and then as a child actor, if you're not still doing the child stuff from Keenan and Kel and
Well,
things
he
go
but
out.
he didn't want to do it. Like, you can't say you're a child actor and then they canceled the show on you. You can't say that you're a child. You told them you don't want to do the show. That's what he said. So you can't. This isn't like Nickelodeon. They were ready to sign him for 6 more years. Like, dude, like, you decided this. How are you trying to commit suicide because you decided that this is what you wanted to do with your life and you made the decisions that you made?
You might not feel okay with the direction in which they are headed in, and going honestly, Cal, when we look at Keenan and Cal, Keenan completely went, he soared, and Cal didn't. And that I can honestly see how that will hurt somebody. Like if I'm in a
But it
show,
but
like
it did it
my
but
name
yeah,
is
but that
Jane. And so
yeah.
if it was a Ty and Jane thing, and Ty continued to go on to SNL and this and that and the third, and I still haven't got there, I might be kind of down about that. And that
Okay,
might
so
make me feel
wait.
some type of way.
Right, but let me ask you this. So the only reason why Kel did not get SNL is because he was doing jokes and he refused to do SNL as a sketch comedy with Keenan. That's the only reason why he didn't get SNL. So I'm just saying, like, so
Yeah,
if
but you can refuse to do certain things and still be sad. It's no different than Monique. They were offering Monique money to do Netflix, but they offered her amount of money that she felt like was not fair. They were offering Kel characters that he felt like didn't put him in a situation that he really didn't agree with. So yeah, you can get offers,
that
but
that but that never happened.
but
That's the
does that
thing. But
mean
that
you're
that
gonna
that never
accept
that
every offer that comes around? You might
but
not
that
be
never happened.
satisfied.
Yeah,
Well,
that never happened.
well,
Nobody offered Kel
but that's what
anything
he
on Saturday
said.
Night Live.
So
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
not the truth. Like, dude, like, he just needs to stop lying, because all that, like, I'm sure his audition tapes can come out. Like, all this stuff can come out. There's evidence of this.
at the end of the day, I feel like, listen, I I love you. I appreciate you. This isn't the first time we interview, but I don't think that it's fair that you can say that this man has never experienced suicidal ideations based on your perspective. There are things that make people sad that you share with other people, and they're like, "What are you sad about that for?" Because why are you sad about that? Like, I've shared things with people who have been extremely close to me, and they don't understand why I'm so sad about it because they just don't get it. So I feel like there's no way that somebody can say, "Oh, there's no reason for you to be suicidal because XYZ." How you want to tell me that I'm not as sad as, or I'm not as depressed as I am because of what you think? You know what I mean? Like, if he's sad or whatever his emotions are, it's just that. You might not agree with it. You might feel like it's a small thing and he's being dramatic. You might feel like,
No, I just think he's fake. That's all. I mean, there's nothing to, like, if I thought that he was truly having suicidal ideations, then that would be a different story. But I just know that he's not, and he was fake. And a lot of things that Kel does are for sympathy. So I'm tired of it. I'm just sick of, playing these games, and I'm not going to continue to feel sorry for someone who wants me to feel sorry for them when they caused everything that they caused themselves and continue to cause it themselves, but try to act like it's someone else is causing it. So I'm not going to feel sorry for him about that. He might have had suicidal ideations in his life, and but like, so have other people. How about your own children? Have you ever thought about that? You ever thought about what your kids think about? Like, the fact that he thinks so much about himself is my problem with him, and the fact that everything is about him is my issue with him. And the fact that he's able to go and do destruction and a mess and cause a complete disaster and then try to blame it on everybody else is a problem.
mm, I get that. Shout out to Make It Make Sense. Make It Make Sense is in the building. Okay. Make It Make Sense has an amazing channel. If y'all haven't already subscribed to his channel, make sure you do so now. He says, "I can understand she has issues with Kel and she has insight, but the public will not accept her stance on his mental health. That is his journey." Okay, so that's what that super chat said. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mims. I do appreciate you being. I didn't even know you watched my channel, Mims. I ain't even gonna hold you. I didn't think you watched the channel. He might have felt he could. He might have felt he couldn't share with her. Well, that could be one thing. Thank you, Mims. I didn't know you watched my channel, but thank you so much. Um, but yeah, this has been really interesting. We've had some, differences, but like, and I mean, the reason why I'm saying this is because I literally have had suicidal ideations, and I expressed them to a counselor. And when my counselor told my mother was in complete denial about it. Ain't nothing wrong with her. She just this. And I'm like, yo, I really want to die. Like, I'm driving to the bridge every night and I'm walking back and forth and I'm about to tip myself over. And my mother didn't even, like, she didn't believe that it was true. And I really wanted to do it just to prove her wrong. So it can be hard sometimes when you are really experiencing these ideations and somebody says, "Oh, that ain't real. They just being dramatic." Oh, being dramatic. Oh, bitch, I'm gonna drive to the bridge tomorrow and prove you wrong. Show up to the funeral or cry for the rest of your life.
Well,
So
it never, Kel's never said, the reason why I found out about any of this is when, he's going on talking about, it was brand new news to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, his version of events that happened did not happen in the way that they said that they happened. They just didn't. So, him going, and I guess, he's looking like the bad guy. So he makes up all these things about he was suicidal because he had a kid and all this stuff. It's just, dude, that never happened. But, he, him making this, it's horrible. I just can't. I just, I get what everyone is saying. I understand that everyone's mental health journey is different and it looks different, which I get. And I do understand that, but I'm just tired of pretending like Kel is not just using people's emotions or trying to get people's emotions to try to dismiss. Because as you said, we just sat here and we talked about, for everything that he accused me of, sleeping with other men, all of these things. Everything was about me and all the stuff that I did. Nothing was about nothing that he did at all. Like not one thing. He did nothing. And as far as being completely supportive of somebody, I was very supportive of him. So he would not, if he's telling me he's cheating with me, he's cheating on me, why wouldn't he tell me that he was having suicidal ideations? But it's here nor there with me in regards to it. Like, I know who I married and I know who I dealt with, and I know what that looks like. And I've seen different narcissistic men do this and use suicide when they're the ones that cause people to want to commit suicide. Like, you don't think, just hear me out for a second. Like, Kel doesn't think that he didn't, even the stuff that he's doing now would not affect his kids' mental health. Talking about he didn't want his son and he wanted to commit suicide because he found out that he was a dad after you proposed to this person, after you created a life with this person, after you used to write poems. And what are you talking about? So, he wants everybody to be very sensitive about, to him. That he really just wants everybody to be sensitive to him about his own needs. But I don't think you get to do that when you have completely destroyed your own children. I don't know. And, I understand the issue, what was going on with your mother and the fact that she did not believe that you were suicidal. I think that's a completely different situation. That's a child, and that's your mother. That's a whole completely different dynamic.
I wasn't a child. I was 19 years old.
Okay. But to me, that's still a child. You were young. To me, that's still a child. Like, you were very young. You were a child. I still think of that as child. I don't think children, I think you're a child until your prefrontal cortex. So past 27, that's when you become more of an adult, because your prefrontal cortex is having that positive thinking. But for him to, like I said, the very first time I heard it was years later. Never brought about it, never talked about it. But it seems that he really understands how media works, and he's been in the industry for a very long time. And so there are two things that people will, be empathetic about. And one is suicide. And the other one is, I guess, cheating wives, because those are the two talking points that he's doing now. So I'm guessing, those are getting the most reactions for what he's trying to portray. So,
I think a lot of what he's trying to portray right now, and whether it be his actual lifestyle or not, is absolutely religion. He considers himself to be a minister, a youth pastor. They were getting it in while Ty Tribbett was performing on that episode of Club Shay Shay. It was the episode with Kel. They finished their episode, and then at the end, Ty Tribbett performed, and both Shannon and Kel were like clapping it up, and because Ty Tribbett is a gospel, artist or whatever. So yeah, they be getting their gospel on. Yeah, I think that's a big part of what he wants to. And like I said, I'm not saying that like that's not what he's living, but
why didn't he talk about that? I don't know
at the forefront.
Yeah, why bring me up then? Why bring me up as far as anything that has to do with, as far as him doing anything to do with religion? Why not take care of your children? Why not pay back the money? Why not do the godly things? You're a godly person. Why not be godly? Why aren't you being godly? I just still don't get it. Especially a person that's all about God and all about forgiveness and all about whatever, that he says that he's about, but he does not actually do any of the things. It's all pretend. Because people that are godly, people that want to change, people that, they take accountability for what they did and they own up to it. And then they, say, hey, I did that. And they try to make amends and they try to make things better. But that's what I would think that he would do. So, you know, and the fact that he's not doing that tells me a lot about him. But hey, everybody is, you know, deserves to have their own life. I'm just tired of him talking about me in negative light, not even speaking truth or facts. And it's ridiculous to me. It's gone. It's overboard.
Absolutely. So what are your closing remarks? What would you like to say? What would you like to refute in closing that he has said that you want to set the record straight about, that you feel like he misled others about?
Oh yeah. Well, number one, I've never cheated on him, and number two, I've never had an abortion. Number three, he has never had custody of his own children while we were separated. I've only spent the night over his house when the kids were, I don't even know, 16 and 17, maybe 15 and 17 years old. So that never happened. What else? In regards to DCFS, that was domestic violence. He was very aware of that. And before that, he had not talked to his kids, so he didn't have to go look for his kids. He didn't have to search for them. Nobody had to keep any kids away from him because he had custody. So he just really needs to stop saying that. I really want other men and other people and other women that are going through this to know that you can come out of this so much stronger once you decide that none of this is okay. Like once you put your foot, be abused, I won't be touched, I won't be hit, people are not going to go around and defame my character and defame my name. You're just not going to stand for it. And the courts and all of these other people really need to do a much better job in protecting women and children and families from the effects of these narcissistic men who commit domestic violence. And this is still domestic violence. So that's, you know, I really want to talk about that and explain to people so that people can understand and see why this continues. And it continues because they don't let it stop. You know, they make a divorce their entire personality. And you know, he just got upset because once my kids turn 18, I said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna join you in it, and we're gonna talk about this, because I had no idea that these good guy narcissists existed. I didn't even know there was a thing. And you know, it's great that he's able to show that, you know, he's a pastor, and he shows himself in a very awesome, amazing light. That's what I've noticed. And so, yeah, you know, one person, just like Diddy, just like all the rest of these people, they can be entirely different people behind closed doors. And nobody should ever trust a celebrity. They're all actors. All of these people are acting.
I do. Well, thank you so much for being a part for the second time. I felt like it was only fair for you to tell your story. I know I felt how I felt, and we, you know, towards the end, we kind of had a little, you know, just because I'm like, listen, will you?
No, just the difference of opinion. I don't think it was anything. I just think it was a difference of opinion. That's all.
Yeah, it was a difference of opinion. And I'm like, listen, I have had ideations and had people closest to me that felt like ain't nothing wrong with her. She just, and I'm like, no, like I'm really about to jump. Like I'm about to jump. Like, stop acting like you know that I'm not gonna jump. Like I'm going, I have had enough, you know. So, but you know, that's a whole nother, you know, conversation. And it's a deep and it's a heavy conversation. So you know, that's for another day and another time. But I do appreciate you coming on. I interviewed you again prior in 2021. I don't even remember what sparked the 2021 thing.
Probably my daughter going on saying that her father was not in her life, and he was trying to clean it up.
It might have been that, but I don't like to put kids in my in my videos. I feel like it's not right. So
yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. So maybe it wasn't that 2021.
I'm unsure, but anyway, it has been a pleasure to get up with you again, to hear your side of the story. I heard Kel's side of the story. I listened to the full interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay and what he had to say about you. And I asked you very specific questions about the show and what or the claims that were made on the show, and you gave your answers, and I'm just grateful that I can get the in-person one-on-one answers from you. I'm very grateful. Can you tell the people where they can find you at from here?
Oh, sure. Well, I have my TikTok channel, Deadbeats, on my website, Deadbeats Pay, and I am on Instagram at Ty Banging. And yeah, that's about it for my social media. But I am definitely actually finishing up writing the movie Ganked 2. And it's really going to be interesting because it's going to be based on everything that is. It's just a little bit different twist on it, but about, a person that steals and takes and pretends like they're the good guy. So
where will we be able to see that when you're done with it?
Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I don't know, maybe on hopefully like on Netflix. Hopefully trying to get some of the people that were originally in the movie together and finish this on out like how it was supposed to have been done. So hopefully I'll be done with it pretty soon and get it filmed, and I will let you know as soon as
let me know,
we let it out.
I will promote it. I'll play the
Thank
trailer.
you.
I'll let people know the date where they can watch it, the time, so that the premiere, because there's more than likely probably I would think that it would be like some sort of premiere that
Sure,
takes
yes,
place.
true.
So I'll play the trailer and we can get it popping and promote it over here. But thank you so much. We are almost headed to the weekend. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and thank you for being a part of the channel.
Thank you so much. Well, you have an awesome day, and I love your show and I enjoy your show, and thank you so much for having me on. And you have a blessed day.
I sure will. You as well. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Y'all, that was such a that was such an amazing interview. I'm really grateful for the interview. God damn it. I'm really grateful that she was able to come on because I have interviewed her in the past, and she's very sweet. She's very, very, very sweet. So I'm grateful that she was able to come on here. Y'all, these comments are cracking me up. I'm dead. Y'all have got to chill. Y'all have got to chill sending me these inboxes of these messages. Y'all really have got to chill. Let me go ahead. Ciao. We're going to go ahead and we're going to close out. This was a really good show. I honestly got afraid when I had to speak up about this about the suicide part. I got afraid because I'm like, this is a guest on the show, and I'm like really getting assertive about what suicidal ideations look like, what they don't look like, and what people around people with suicidal ideations, if they're able to see or clock that. Like, people from the outside looking in aren't always able to clock that. And actually, more times than not, when there is someone with suicidal ideations and they actually follow through with the suicide, people are like, dang, I didn't even know this person was sad or suffering or this or that. I didn't know. Oftentimes it's, oh, I didn't know. So that's why when people be like, oh, this person ain't really suicidal, I'm like, pause. Let's take a moment, because you don't know what suicide looks like. I've been in a suicidal state several points within my life. Several points. And there are several people who really think that I would never, like, in natural conversation, when I'm either making new friends or have friends, like, oh, I know you would never kill yourself because da da da. And I just take it in. I'm like, okay, that's what you think. There have been several times where I've wanted to just go. You heard me. Like, it don't have a look, It does not have a look. So that was something that I was just like, oh, I just had to be honest about that. And I didn't want it to get messy. And luckily it didn't get messy. So that's great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hey, shout out to Aaliyah TV says, I love you, Jane. Thank you. I love you too, babes. I love you as well. There was somebody else that sent a cash app. Who was it? Chico. Just blessing your page. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Chico. It sounds more like, oh, they were talking to the caller. Sounds more like you're the projector, but you got it, says, oh, Snapchat. Appears you hold all parties accountable, but you. Oh, they was really going in, child. Mims was here. Wait, hold on. Mims said 3 things. I only seen 2 things that Mims said. I can understand she has issues with Kel and she has insight, but the public will not accept her stance on his mental health. That is his journey to, you couldn't share with her. Okay, got you. Yeah. Shout out to Mims for being here, okay? Because what? Mims has grown really quickly. He is very deserving of the growth and the support that he gets. Okay, I've literally seen Mims grow. Mims has a really good channel. Make It Make Sense. If you hear me saying Mims, I'm talking about Make It Make Sense. Yeah, he's really grown, and he also does a lot of really good deep dive research. So yeah, definitely check out his channel if you haven't already. Although most of y'all, I'm sure most of y'all probably already know who he is. Bossy has been a member for 15 months. Hey, shout out to you, Bossy. Thank you so much for coming through. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're going to get out of here. That was an interview. I saw that Kel Mitchell was on Shannon Sharpe's show yesterday. It premiered. And at the end of it, Todd Tribbett did a performance. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip. Then I'll tell you how I feel. And then we're going to go ahead and then we're going to get out of here. Does that make sense? Is that good with and for everybody? Child, I got to zoom in and get into my next situation. Let me see.
It's Pam. Pamela James.
Girl, you have got to tell me about your night last night.
Same mess. Time and time again. What the fuck?
It's crazy, man. It's like women after women. Draws after draws, dog. GTD. Yeah.
You shouldn't give up so easily, Pam. Huh. You never know. You might find something that's forever. Like me and my Martin.
Like Martin?
You know what? I'm worried about her. I want to see her with someone special. She deserves that.
I'm the love doctor, Tommy. All right. Sometimes love is right where you never expect it. Sometimes love's in your face.
You know what, Pam? Search our whole lives looking for a friend. Soulmate.
But Tommy, we can't do this. We're friends.
But what if we gain so much more?
We can't tell Martin and Gina about this.
Is something different?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Something is up. I know when my girl is hiding something from me.
Tommy, what are you doing here?
Came to bring these here.
I'm the happiest I've ever been.
I'm happy for you, Pam. But what about Cole?
Girl, so what? Everybody hates Cole.
Girl, he's not so bad. You gotta figure out a way to tell him. Girl, something is wrong.
Get out my face.
Get your ass up, Cole.
Do you even know if Tommy has a job? What does he do for a living?
Why can't you ever tell me the truth, Tommy?
Look, Pam, you don't need to know everything.
Then I can't trust you. What are we doing?
Do you know how exhausting it is for everybody to see me as a joke? I'm sick of this shit.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
I don't know what he's gonna do, Pam.
Season 5. Tommy, what the fuck does this even mean?
We boys, right?
We always gonna be boys.
It's Pam. Pamela James.
I think that would be a really good way for them to bring it back. Martin don't look the same. Nobody look the same. Tyisha Campbell don't look the same, but Tashina Arnold does look the same. Tommy, unfortunately, rest in peace, right? Cole kind of looks the same. And that would actually be a really good thing. But nonetheless, listen, you guys, I really enjoyed this, enjoyed doing this interview. I haven't done an interview in a while. And it was great to do an interview and then to also be able to do an interview, right? And give some pushback on things that I or to challenge, should I say, my interviewee. That's what a good interview is all about. Having somebody come on your platform and just saying all that they say without challenging or questioning what they have going on is not a good interview. It's just not. You have to be willing to ask the difficult questions. And I definitely asked the difficult questions. And I think that that's pretty evident. I asked difficult questions. And then we definitely got into like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, this is how this go. So it was definitely an interesting thing to do. And I'm grateful to be back in the minutia of that realm of content creation. I truly enjoyed it. And I hope that you all enjoyed it as well. I appreciate all of you all watching the channel. I hope that all of you all have hit like on the video, hit the thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that I'm creating amazing content that other people should see as well. Also, you should subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps. YouTube punishes us when we aren't consistent, but I'm trying my best to be consistent. But y'all know I'm working through my sickness, and actually I'm doing a lot better, but I'll talk to y'all about that a little bit later. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank y'all for being a part of this video and for watching. I definitely, y'all's company, y'all's viewership, y'all's support does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. I love you all so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go. Hopefully I can see you all later on today. Listen, here's what I really do want to say to y'all, and I hope that y'all remember her. As long as you are better than the person that you were yesterday, then you doing the damn thing. You doing the damn thing. Like, you are your only competition, and you need to know that. You need to understand that. You need to remember that. You need to engrave it in your brain and in your mind. You are your only competition. You don't have to compete with anybody else but yourself. And I want y'all to remember that. Okay. It's time to face it, boo. Your product needs more exposure. If you want to see your ad here on my channel, be sure to shoot an email over to yt.theplainestjane@gmail.com and let's chat. But if you're new in my neighborhood here on YouTube, hey, I'm the Plainest Jane, and I provide coverage and commentary on trending stories, viral events, and Black culture. I definitely appreciate you stopping through and hitting that subscribe button if you'd like more of my particular brand of syrup.
It was a YouTuber, and shout out to her for this good detective work, honey. She's the one who went and was able to put 2 and 2 together. The Plainest Jane. That's the person's name, the Plainest Jane. I couldn't think of what their name was on the podcast, but I wanted to go ahead and shout them out. They're the ones who did the work. All right. So, like I said, shout out to Plainest Jane. She's the one who put that together. So Shekinah was not lying. So when Tiny came back on some, oh, she's making it up, sounded like Tiny's voice to me.
I'm looking at the Discord at what they were saying that I didn't get to see in real time, and they were like, Jane, your face is saying everything. I can't help it. My face says stuff when I'm not, okay? So sometimes my face, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. Black people, y'all know how we communicate in a way where we not even, it might be a dap, it might be a this, it might be a, like, Black people, listen, we communicate in a certain way. So yes, my face was set up a couple different ways when I heard things that I felt were a little outlandish or absurd. It is what it is, okay? But nonetheless, listen, you guys, I look forward to seeing you all later on. Where are we going? Okay, gotcha. All right, you guys, I'll see you later on. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. If you see anything going on that you want to alert me about, that you want me to create content about, please be sure to tag me in something or inbox me on Instagram or on Twitter. I'm on Instagram and on Twitter pretty much all the time. You can also send me an email. That stuff is linked down below in the description box. But I love you all so much. I'm sending y'all positivity, good vibes, and all that stuff as always. And I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Okay? Okay. Deuces. But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.